I think one time, speaking with some Bitcoin miners who've worked really, either from China or who worked really closely with some Chinese miners, in a way, they're kind of the most capitalist. Like these sort of Chinese miners are like capitalist frontiersmen who are themselves like. There's a reason why they're not mining Bitcoin in China. They're mining Bitcoin in the U.S. because they're sort of capitalists and they're trying to build a business and things like that. And so I think if you were to make a sort of a straw man case, it's that like the folks who are trying to mine Bitcoin here aren't exactly like working for the CCP or CCP agents. A lot of them are just coming over here to mine to try to make better opportunities for their family. I don't know which one of those is sort of true, but it is unsurprising in the current state of the world that issues like this are coming up.
Let me add some context to the story for those scratching their heads, and then we'll do some trivia again and then open up to the floor. So Bitmain, obviously the larger producer of Bitcoin mining ASICs, can manufacture about 80% of Bitcoin mining units out there. Cango is a newer company. It used to be an auto company in China. And then Bitmain basically, through some deal structuring, took over the entire company, kicked out the old management, turned Cango, which is publicly listed here in the US and always has been, Kang, if you want to buy the stock. They are now a Bitcoin miner, and they have about 50 plus exahash online. So that's, again, we're at 1 zettahash. So they have, what's the math there, Drew?
You serious? This is not very nice of you. Is it 5?
Your neurologist is going to send me a bill.
Is that 5%?
Yeah. So they have a decent percentage of the network under management, which is pretty awesome for them. Now we have this whole it's actually been going on for a little bit, kind of like a MAGA inquisition to are you using these megawatts for nefarious purposes? And this is a pretty timely bill. So, they're asking about the management of these megawatts, which are all over the U.S. Cango has sites all over the U.S. and it's a decent amount of power. Some things that could cause to go wrong, right? So there's things with the computers themselves. What if Bitmain puts in some sort of bug into all these units, and then that bug breaks out from the data center and crawls over to one of these nuclear facilities, and we have an international war in our hands pretty quickly. So that's one concern. There's just general spying, and I've heard of stories where there have been Bitmain units with spyware on them near critical infrastructure. It's a fun one among operators as well. And then the last one I'd probably be grid transmission issues, right? It's we're online, we have a lot of transmission online, then we flip it off. That unbalances the grid. Then everyone's electricity, everyone's lights turn off because of that. So those are the 3 things they're concerned about. I think the last thing, which is notable here, and we've seen this in a few other headlines, is a lot of states just don't want foreign investment into land and power at the moment. And there's a lot of bills prohibiting that around the United States. I actually don't have too much trivia for the story off the top of my head.
No, I think it's a great point, though, about the potential other attacks, which were beyond my imagination at the time. One interesting point, completely unrelated to Bitcoin mining, if that idea of potential sort of malware coming on computers sent from China seems sort of far-fetched. Or the U.S. at one point did this to Iran, and I forget which year was called, but it was the hack was called Stuxnet, which basically involved anytime a USB, it was technically a 0-day exploit, but anytime a USB was plugged into a Windows computer, it would basically just share this virus. And at one point, a meaningful, it was double-digit % of the Windows computers in the world had this sort of virus. And the virus literally was just if you are a specific type of Siemens turbine that they think was being used in Iran to enrich uranium, if you have this one program on your site, on the computer, then adjust the frequency or the RPM of the turbine just marginally so, because if you do that, it will cause it to break, way sooner than it's supposed to. And so that basically resulted in massive delays and hurdles and issues with the Iranian nuclear program. And so the U.S. government has done something like this before, so it's not completely out of the question.
Can you infect an ASIC with malware? Is it technically possible? Can it carry malware?
Yeah, so an ASIC, if you look at the box itself, it looks like a shoe box. There's different designs. It's going to have 2 fans on the front, 2 fans on the back. There's going to be 3 computer boards, right? So if you've opened up back in the day, we had those desktop towers, right? And you open it up and kind of see all the boards inside. Think of 3 of those inside one of these boxes. And then there's a little thing on top called the hat control board. And it's basically like a little brains for it's like, what are these 3 boards going to do? And there's a few things on there, including a memory section, very limited amount of memory compared to like typical iPhone, right? Like mine's like 64 gigs, whatever yours is. These Bitcoin miners are really tiny, like not that much memory, but you can put things in there. And then if you connect that to a network, because you have to plug it into the internet to mine Bitcoin, that can get out onto the network. And so historically, there have been pretty crazy bugs. There's been bugs that have gone through and basically changed all the Bitcoin addresses on Bitcoin miners overnight for like 2 hours. They'll change the address for the mining and it'll go to someone else's wallet. And then it'll go back to the correct address later. And so no one will know about it. And it'll happen at 1 a.m. at night. There's instances where machines have all been bricked and all the machines are just like not usable anymore. So there's lots of ways you can kind of gimmick it, and there's lots of fun like operator conspiracies around this. Last thing I'll note was there was last summer a spyware package found in a lot of units for one specific pool's operating system, or found by the pool operators in a few sites down in Texas, and they looked through it a little bit and did send it to the DoD, and they were like pretty certain it came from a Chinese source there, like a Chinese foreign source. So yeah, get spicy.
That's some good. Those are all good details. Those are all good snippets.
Yeah.
And that is the way to do it. If you were to have like a hack into someone's ASICs, that's the way you do it. It's like, why do our machines, why does the pool hash rate drop to like, 1 a.m. every night? Why does it drop for an hour and then come back up? That's the way you would do it.
It's fun to my lifestyle. That's why. Okay, we will keep going. Any questions on that story though? It's a fun one.